What's up?
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
We're good.
Welcome aboard, everybody.
How you doing?
Yeah. So we're Pastors Greg and Michelle of Marriage Makes Three.
.com.
.com.
Yes.
Tuesday through Thursday between 9 and 9:30-ish Central Standard Time. We're right here with you, dropping all the tools to help you to get your relationship on and popping. Now, if it's already good, we got stuff for you too. If you are single and ready to mingle, single and not sure, y'all come
You
on
need
in
to
here.
be in here.
You need to be here.
And those
So
that you know.
invite them.
Yes.
Invite them friends, invite some enemies, invite everybody you know.
Amen.
And Kimmy is here. Kimmy
Thank
says,
you for
hello,
joining, darling.
hello,
Appreciate you.
hello.
Oh, wait, she's Kim Hargrove tonight. Last night she was Kimmy.
She switched it up.
She's
Switched it up on us last
she's
night.
she's a chameleon. She can change and do what she wants to do because she's grown like that, and it's all good. I mean, you know what you gonna do? Just gotta love her. And as long as he love her, we good to go. That's all there is to it. Hey, True Movement, thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate you so very much. So, guys, come on in the room, invite someone, share the broadcast. We're gonna get started tonight. We've been talking this week. Stop in the name of love. Actually, Tuesday we was just talking about whatever we wanted to talk about. We
just say hello.
Right.
Takes us an hour to say hello.
Hey,
love you guys.
but we did it. And I think we had a good time. I mean, you know, sometimes we're not really saying a whole bunch, but I think people, you know, kind of like us anyway.
And that's one of the reasons that what we try to do is try to model the behavior. Sometimes you don't feel like hitting it. I mean, what I mean by that is you don't feel like getting up going to work. You don't feel like doing whatever it is you're supposed to do, Brittany, in your relationship. But you know, you work through those tough days when you don't feel up to doing whatever it is you need to do. Or if you're busy in an area, sometimes you may not be able to keep all of your normal pleasantries and everything else you need to do. So the idea is just to chill.
Yeah.
And Terrence.
Hey, Terrence, the Lord bless
us.
you. Thank you for joining us tonight. That's what everyone needs is love. I know that's right. Miss Groovy said not hitting it. Okay.
I didn't mean that. You know, hey,
it is what it is.
We're going to talk about that.
We will. And
we are going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. We're still talking to our singles, so really they shouldn't be hitting anything other than a hope and a prayer.
The bed.
Don't give them no. Give them no. Hey, Brittany, don't give them no ideas, you know, because we're easy to have ideas. We want, for those of you guys that are in here tonight, now we know that we're talking to our singles this week, and even last week we were. But what we want for you guys to know is that if you're in here and you are married, that you are welcome to stay, because there's some things that you're going to have to teach those that are in your circle, your children, your nieces and them, nephews and them. And so come on in the room and invite someone. But we want you also to know that we are here for you Tuesday through Thursday, and we give you tools that's helping you with your relationships. Before, I do, and after. And so one of the resources that we have available for those of you that are after I do is this particular resource that we call Sex Connect. It's yes, no, maybe so. This is for those of you that are already married and you need to, you know, rev up the spark element.
Yeah. And if you are married, whether you are newlyweds or you've been married 50 years, you still need to keep sparks. You need to keep things going. And this is a communications tool to help you talk about areas. There may be areas in 40 years that you've not quite explored.
Like
or researched and developed or talked about.
Handcuffs, feathers, or blindfolds?
Could be.
Is it something like, I don't know, role playing or something?
It could be
that people.
Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Smith, maybe Mrs. Jones tomorrow, depending on the headgear, what she's wearing. Mrs. Jones. And Mrs. Jones. So in your relationship, and the Bible says that the bed is the marriage bed is undefiled.
That's right.
So in your marriage relationship, you need to be doing things.
That's gonna help you.
Absolutely. And so even our night off Tuesday night,
Yeah.
when we came in and we just didn't, we were working on other projects. We came in late and just talked.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to talk.
Amen.
You need to chill scope. You need to go in and just kind of lie on the bed and talk to each other. I don't mean it has to go. It don't mean it has to go anywhere.
But it's nice when it does. I mean, especially if you ain't
nothing wrong.
If ain't nothing been popping on.
With it going
on.
somewhere.
It's going
And
on, going down. Oh.
That's the key, is that you just need to talk and kind of work around some stuff.
Yes, intimacy.
And you kind of absolutely
intimacy.
Conversational
intimacy. Yeah.
Thank you, baby.
Amen. Hey, Miss Mignon Jay, thanks for joining. I see Miss Groovy is with us tonight. She's talking about game night. Yes, y'all are looking forward to that already, aren't you? I love it. So, this is a free download for you of those of you that are married. I mean, if you're not married, it's not like we're gonna, be monitoring and saying, "Oh, you can't get it."
You can't.
Right. We're not trying to fling any cravings on anyone, but we do want you to know that Sex Connect is available to you at marriagemakes3.com. And we also wrote 2 books. I want to tell you about this one first because I want to read some out of the second one. Okay. This is actually the second book that we wrote together.
So you'll read something out of the first one.
Yes.
Okay.
This is our second book we wrote together. It is called Erogenous Zones Exploring Marital Intimacy. And y'all, this book right here, if you've ever been a part of Marriage Makes 3, ever been in here when we read a little of this stuff right here, let me explain something to you, sugar pudding. You're going to find that there are some elements of this book that is going to bless your whole entire life.
And you're going to throw up the do not disturb sign when we read from this book.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
you may say, look, go ahead and get your nap now.
Right.
Because though it's not pornographic.
That's right.
There are no pictures that are going to make you.
It might make you blush a little bit, but I mean, it's nothing like,
Yeah.
It ain't nothing.
Lewd, rude, or
no, we don't do that over here in holiness, right?
That lewd, rude, or crude.
I like that, honey. That was a good trio. We don't do that over here in holiness, but we do want you to know it's available to you. You can find it on our website, or you can check it out on the Amazon. All right. So find those over there for you guys. It's going to help you. It's going to bless your life. Ms. Groovy said, you was talking about Sex Connected, making it a game night thing.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
No, maybe so.
Yes.
Okay.
It definitely, yeah.
In fact, wow.
Yeah.
I think we did something similar to that.
Mm-hmm. But we didn't have everybody
read. Yeah, we didn't have you go on.
No, we're not
doing it.
No.
Yeah.
So go over and get it. It's a free download.
It's free, guys.
You can get it at bit.ly/MM3LINKS. There is the link. You can find it. You can get it tonight. I promise you.
One of many downloads. But
yes.
Tonight we recommend this one.
Yes.
This is Thursday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is Friday.
Yes, and you might be like, hey, this might be all right. Yes. And we need to cool it now and slow it down.
Corona hasn't been bothering us, so we're just gonna chill
here at the house. Right.
We're not wearing masks. We're not at the hospital. So thank God.
Unless you want to wear a mask.
Yeah. And work in the hospital.
We just.
Mind.
Yeah, okay. Kim, Mrs. Hargrove says, get the book, 7 Keys to Better Sex in Your Marriage. Yes, that's the one. This is our first book together. To find out what you and your partner likes and dislikes. Erogenous Zones is a touch me, tease me tool. How about that? It's a touch me, tease me tool that is sure to get those bedroom fires started or rekindled. I like that, Kim. I think you've said that before, and I thought it was amazing. Appreciate you, sweetheart. All right, so we're going to talk to our singles, but right before we do, we just wanted to read a little bit out of our first book together. This is called Erogenous Zone. No. Wait, it's not called that. It is called 7 keys to better sex in your marriage. I don't know where that just came from, but it's all good. So we updated this book. So this is the updated copy that we're going to read just a little bit from. This is talking about the couple on the cover. For those of you that don't know, the couple on the cover is Marta and Daniel Soto. Now, we told you guys that Marta, I can't ever make it straight. Okay, Marta is who I call the magical unicorn because she does everything and does it all very well. True Movement on the Instagram. Follow her. And this is her sweet husband. This is Daniel Soto, our son in he's just our son now. I mean, it's amazing. Yes. Awesome. Amen. Yeah. So what we want to tell you about them is that we updated this first book. They are the couple on the cover. And so we updated the book to tell you a little bit about the couple on the cover. And so right before we move into our rest of our content for tonight, we just wanted to read just a little excerpt of this, if that's okay.
Yeah, invite someone. Go ahead and do that now.
Tell the people. Share. All right. So the couple on the cover, and realize that it's the second part of the book, the updated version. The couple on the cover, we want you to meet 2 awesome people. If you've been a part of our regular Periscope, Facebook, or Instagram broadcast, you'll already know portions of their story. For those that haven't, let us introduce you to them. Enter Daniel and Marta Soto. Daniel Soto, a tall, ruddy fella of Puerto Rican descent. Customer service is his forte, former felon with a heart of gold. His mission is to serve. He may not have understood what God was calling for in his life, so he, for a time, went the other way. Disconnected from family and God, depression and negativity ruled his life. Marta Soto, a bright complexion, kind of short woman with a smile that will warm the heart of an ogre, a soft-spoken professional who loves to help people any way she can. During a weekly broadcast, Marta showed up. She began to be a regular in the broadcast, and we loved her interaction, and gradually Daniel began to accompany her. You've got to know that Daniel was having a big issue as far as his faith. He'd seen so many ungodly things happen in the church that it made him question God's very existence. One day, Marta inboxed us and said, "I started to send you an email last night just to thank you for the love and prayers you pour into us. I want you to know that Dan and I always have you in our hearts, mind, and prayers. Your broadcasts have literally saved both my life and marriage, and I can't say enough. I pray for your strength and peace of mind." Y'all, when I first came across that email, I was like totally and completely in shock because for those of you that don't know, we do this. This is our passion. We want you to have good, godly relationships. We want you to meet the one that is the one for you, the one that is going to spend their life with you, serving you, loving you, caring for you, and the whole 9 yards. And so for someone to inbox us with us never having had an individual session with them, because you guys know this is what we do. We counsel couples before I do, after I do, in infidelity, divorce, it doesn't matter. And we mentor others. And so for her to inbox us and say that specifically, it was just very unusual, right? And so it was just a blessing to get to know them that way. And for those of you that know, Marta ended up moving here to Mississippi. And so this was during the time when she and Daniel were having a lot of problems, a lot of issues, and they just simply needed someone that they could sit down with and someone safe. And I wish to God that everyone would find that safe person in their life that they can speak some things to and not be concerned about it going everywhere, not be concerned that you're going to talk to them crazy or look at them or judge them funny simply because of what they're going through. And so when we updated the book, it was like we had to tell you guys about the story about this couple that's on the cover of our book. This book means a lot to us because they're on there. All right.
And because they're part of our lives. And
Yes.
listen, we don't typically tell anybody's story.
Right.
When we're in counsel with you, your story is your story. But if you want to share it, then that's fine. And so Marta and Daniel, they began to tell how helpful we were to them.
Yeah.
And Martha has come along beside us, and she's part of our team. They are part of our team,
Yeah.
part of
Amen.
our ministry team, and part of our Marriage Makes Three team.
Yes.
She's here
It's
in the
amazing.
broadcast now. I love you, Marta.
She said I'm ugly crying. You better stop.
That's okay.
Look, we don't have time
Yeah,
for that. We got too much to do.
we were just saying last night that sometimes you just need
To
one,
lay
get it
down.
out. You know,
Yes.
that catharsis, get it out.
Yes,
And
God.
then you can pick it up and go back to what you know.
Amen. That's right. We need a nap sometime out here in these streets.
That's important. Natalie Cruz.
Hey, Natalie.
And she said in there, go to bed.
How are you, girl? It's good to see you, Natalie. Colonel Sanders is my safe person. The chicken lady. You are a mess, girl. I love you.
Yeah.
Marta, the smarter virtualist, is that because of MM3, I got a brand new husband and didn't have to get a divorce. Amen. And that is such a testament to the things that God is able to do.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, some of the things we look at God and we're like, wow, you did all of that. Yes, he did it. And so we want you to know that if you are going through something, you're dealing with an issue in your relationship, that is not an impossibility. Now you got to work, Team Tanetta, you got to work, right? Got to do the work. If you're not going to put in the work, you're not going to get the results. But if you are committed, we're committed to you. Amen. All right? So find us at marriagemakes3.com. I stand behind. Oh.
She always says, I got a brand new husband and I didn't have
to get a divorce. That's right. And so when we're giving you these tools, we're giving them to you because we really want for your relationship to be all that it can be. There is no divorce in heaven. There's no marriage in heaven. So I guess there isn't any divorce in heaven. But marriage is something that God gave us for down here. And if it's your desire, we want you to know that it's something that you can find it. And I know that sometimes we're dealing with so much stuff and people are looking for that person. They seem to can't find them anywhere. And we want you all to know that there is some things that you do. And one of the things that we talk about is getting ready. Get ready. Stop sitting around expecting that somebody just gonna swoop in on a white horse
with a bucket of chicken. And that's no reference to. Oh, he's gonna show up
with a bucket of chicken.
Well, if you order out,
we might. Right. I don't know about the horse and the armor. Yeah. But it is what it is. And so what we want you to do is know that for those of you that know how to pray, you may have been doing it and praying and saying, well, I am not getting anywhere. We have developed for you this thing called Manifest My Mate. It's a prayer that you just go in and you can download it. It's free for you. We want you to have that because we know that sometimes, it's like, man, I'm praying, but sometimes we pray for 5 minutes and we act we're like, well, I don't know what else to pray for.
I don't know why God didn't hear me.
Right.
Because you wasn't,
sometimes we have to have target prayer. He's like Marta says, specific is terrific. When you go in and you're specifically petitioning God for your mate, you're saying, God, I am ready and I need you to prepare the person that's for me.
You said something just then. You said when you go in, and that's why a lot of prayers don't get answered, because people don't enter in. You have to go in with God. Go in and be serious about this thing. And Lord, what can I do? We had a revelation last night that sometimes if you say, Lord, I want this, I want the person to be like this, I want them to be like you. That's gotta ring, that's gotta resonate with God. When you tell her, I want somebody like you.
Yes.
But when you go in the end, you're gonna say, Lord, and what can I do to facilitate this.
Right.
What can I do to get ready? Guess what? He's already did it. He sent you the MM3.
That's right.
And that's why we're here, to get you prepared.
Yes.
If you're dating, we want you to date right so you can mate right.
Yes, Lord.
And if you get the dating part down, you know, you're not going to just settle for anybody
anything
that comes along.
Yes, that part.
And what comes at you is going to be serious.
Yeah. Yes.
You know? Now, if you're talking backwards, if you're talking out of this side of your mouth and you're looking out, oh, he's cute, you know, good man, but you're talking over here, okay? And there's some guys, some of y'all doing this too. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You're looking at everything that come by. Wow, wow. But you're saying ain't no good women. You know, you're talking out of both sides. You have to be consistent. You have to go in with God and say, Lord, send me somebody after your heart and make me over so I won't break their hearts the moment they come in my life. Come on.
And that's something that we have to be careful of.
Serious.
That we're ready when the time comes. There's a Chronos time, which is the time that you get on your watch, and there's a Kairos time, in which is God's perfect timing, where everything is just lined up, where you're ready, they're ready, and everything else around you is ready. And so when we developed this Manifest My Mate prayer at bit.ly/praymate, or you can go to the link in the bio, which is the MM3 links. You'll be able to download that thing, plug your name in, and go with some pointed prayers so that you will say, okay, this is what I'm praying for right now. And I have a time period, and I know that I'm focused in on this. And we believe that if you would go and download that and get started praying specifically, deliberately, that God will come through for you. All right?
Your actions, you want your actions to be consistent with what you're asking.
That's right.
If you're asking God for a queen, you know, you are probably not going to meet that queen when you're clubbing every weekend.
Well,
or the club you're going to, you have a whole bunch of dollar bills. You're probably not going to meet your queen there. I'm just saying. So we have to start looking at this thing with a with a real view. It's a pursuit. And gentlemen, when you go hunting, when you actually go hunting in the woods, you're going to take a knife, you're going to take a gun, you're going to make sure that you are dressed properly.
Right.
You're going hunting. You're not going dressed in bright red. You're not going to have your Jerry curl exposed because you don't want to get caught in the woods. Right? But you are going, I have my sight singular, you know? I'm not looking for Bambi. I'm looking for Bambi's grandpapa or grandmama. Right? So it's the same principle.
Right.
It's the same principle.
Yeah.
When you're a man who findeth a wife, findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord.
Right.
Oh my goodness. This is good right in this street.
And not the Jerry curl juice. Yes. Jerry curl juice. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, gonna smell you. Oh, what is
from a
that?
mile away.
What is that smell?
Activator. That's what it was. And then you know they probably got a white towel because they gotta make sure that the juice don't drop on you. So you definitely gonna get seen there. That is so nice. Listen, guys, come on in here. Again, I'm Pastor Michelle. This is Pastor G. We're spiritual relationship counselors, veterans of the United States Air Force, your go-to couple for all things relationship. And tonight we're talking about stopping in the name of love. Some of you are out here in these relationship streets and you are doing your very best. However, what you find yourself is doing is attracting the same type of person. And so what we have to do is open our eyes and begin to look so we can know before we go what we're dealing with. All right. So here we are. We started last night talking about this and about some of the stop signs. We told you guys that there's some dead ends and some stops. That there's danger ahead, that the blinking lights and the caution tape and the arrows. Hey, Deirdre, love you, sweetheart. The arrows are telling you to go a different way. There's a detour and a cone, and you still find yourself dealing with the same person that you have always attracted. And so we let you guys know that there was 5 things. And if you have not yet, go. It's still up from last night. We talked about the first part of this. Stop in the name of love. I was getting ready to say verses 1 through 5.
Hey, that's okay.
The preacher just came all the way out. So numbers 1 through 5 we went through last night, and tonight we're on number 6. Thank you, Ms. Groovy. One,
Verses and not text.
right, for putting that in the for putting that in the chat. Appreciate you guys so much. So number 6, you guys, y'all go ahead and put the number 7 so we'll be ready. Number 6 thing that you've got to look for when you're out here in these relationship streets is if the person not only frequently flirts with other women or other men, but if this person is out here and they have no long-term friends. No one has known this person more than a couple weeks, maybe a month or two. You have to wonder if a person has absolutely no long-term friends. Everybody is an acquaintance. You never hear them say, well, my friend so-and-so said, or my friend and I, we met, or any of that.
Wow.
You have to wonder, like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you got no friends? Right.
You have to listen
Yep.
to the parts of the conversation.
Yes.
And
see
pick up on
what's going on
and what's being said and what's not
being said.
Right. My buddy, my boy.
Yeah.
My boy, he been my boy since day one. Most of the time when somebody said my boy, they're gonna give you the backstory.
Yes.
They're gonna tell you a little bit. He been my boy since day one.
Right.
We were boy charms.
Yeah.
But if they've been away, military, pharmaceutical school, or other long-term engagement, maybe the French Foreign Legion, maybe they joined Greenpeace for like 9 or 10 years. I'm just saying that there may be reasons why they don't have the French Foreign Legion, why they don't have long-term friends,
only acquaintances, or it could be that they have a hard time with, they have some bonding issues. Or maybe they're dishonest. And we talked about that the other night. Yeah. There are people that lie a lot, and if you lie, and people don't want to be around you, they ain't gonna do it. And so was it extended stay vacation? Right. So we have to look for these things, because whenever you see someone and they're exhibiting certain types of behavior all the time, then what ends up happening is that you end up being the recipient of those behaviors.
The recipient, as well as you become one who enables.
True.
Those. You help to keep the circle around this person. Now, here is a situation as well. When a person is less than honest, they don't want a lot of long-term.
Right. Amen.
Or if every person that they have, they've tried to come on to their spouse.
Yo.
A husband or spouse or daughter.
Real talk. There are people that do that sort of thing, because you hear stories all the time that I had someone come and stay with us, and my husband and them ended up in the wherever, or this particular man was in the house and they came, and then the next thing you know, they kept on coming. And my wife, you see, we already got a problem. And so we have to learn that when someone shows us some things, that we have to go a little deeper. Too many times we're too busy being surface. And when we're surface type people, you're not going to be able to look down further to see what might be beneath the surface.
And here again, this is why we talk about in dating, personality types.
Yeah. Oh.
How is the person? Are they gregarious? Are they outgoing?
Right.
Are they a closet? Just depressive. What kind of person? Yeah. What is it? What kind of qualities? And it's so very important.
Yes.
That you know who you are. When we talk about dating right, so that you can mate right, you gotta know who you are.
You have to. Thank you, Queen Maria. Thank you for hey, going, Courtney. Thank you for joining us tonight. And so, we want you all to know that if you're looking for someone or someone is in your life and you're going out on a date with them and they have no acquaintances, no long-term friends, that they might be something going on with that. Yeah, that's right. Some people are freaks, and that's why they can't have a friendship. Deirdre said a relationships be like a cold sore, here today and gone tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
Right.
Deirdre,
you're right.
Them dang cold sores.
They can become very painful.
And long, they'll stay like they bring a suitcase with them, depending on what you're doing.
What it is. Yeah. Yes, this is very true. And I was, we're working on something, you guys. And I started, and Deirdre, you know a little bit about this, working on something. And I started saying that one thing that we need to start looking at is people's medical background.
Yeah.
When you're out here and you're looking at someone as a potential mate, a potential husband, potential wife, what is it that you're going to end up with other than the love that you feel like you want or need? Yeah. Sometimes we're dealing with people that are mentally unstable. Sometimes we're dealing with people that are narcissistic. We're dealing with people that are dishonest. And then we come into contact with them and we are, so naive. We're just so wanting someone in our lives, someone to love us, that we're willing to deal with whatever they bring. And so this is why we have to begin to open our eyes and look when we're out in these dating and relationship streets. Miss Groovy One says, they say herpes don't go away, but it shows up like a cold sore. Yes. I remember the first person, and I'm pretty sure at this point in the game, most all of you know someone. You may not know the fact, but you more than likely, you know how they talk about that 6 degrees of separation?
Yes.
There's someone in your circle within those 6 to 10 people. One of those people have herpes simplex. Yeah, and it is what it is. When we first started seeing it, a lot of people didn't realize that, that this was a thing, and people that were already out here being somewhat promiscuous. And we're saying that you have to learn how to do, if you're going to be out there, at least use some safety precautions. Can I say it like that? And y'all know we're Christian pastors and we are advocates for people abstaining until they're married. But we also know that the statistic is that 90% of people that get married, whether they're believers or non-believers, that they have already had some sexual encounters. There was a pastor friend that I knew years ago, so don't y'all be looking for him in town, that he married a young woman, and she had kept herself, her virginity for after her marriage. And what ended up happening is that he had also been with someone prior to this. And when they got married, he was always negative for everything. But when they got married, she ended up contracting that disease from him. Now imagine oh my God. And the poor girl
kept herself for all
of these years doing what she believed was the right thing. And he wasn't out here, like just dropping it and swinging it and dipping it.
It's just before. So he had a history.
He had a history, as most of us have. And some things don't show up right away. And so if it takes you 2 or 3 negatives before it becomes a positive test, or before the antibodies are, built up in the diseases built up in your system, what ends up happening is that you test negative falsely. And then you come together with someone and they end up, because, we're married. Why do we need to protect ourselves? Unless, of course, we're trying not to be pregnant with, condoms. You could do a little bit better than that. You know what I'm saying? And so she ended up with this lifelong disease. It does not go away. You can manage it, but it is no cure for it. And so when we're saying this, we're letting you all know that there are things that you have to look at. is this really, she said, put a helmet on it or some saran wrap or something.
And this groovy one added,
They have
male
and female condoms now. You're right. And so there is no reason for us not to have at least some sort of barrier. But we also realize that nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect other than abstinence. I know I'm not pregnant because I ain't never did nothing to be pregnant with. You see what I'm saying? I know that I don't have any I don't even have an inkling to have any of this stuff because I've never been exposed to it.
That's the only way
to know 100%.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's why we say the things that we do. So God didn't tell us certain things to kind of restrain us, to restrict us. He did it out of love for us because he knew that there's some stuff that's out here floating around that we could end up being affected by for the rest of our lives. Wow. And that's not his best for us. Now, can he work through it? Heck yeah. So we've seen it, right? He can do anything but fail. All right. And I think he could fail too if he made if he made those parameters.
If he wanted to.
Right. Yeah. Amen. Deidre said I probably would have punched him in the throat. Well, look at, this, she was it was one of those, do I still want to even be married to you?
Yeah.
And so this rolled off a whole nother the ball started picking up motion and stuff. And it was finally a point where she said, you know what? I married you because I loved you and because you were faithful to me. And when you come to get all the little, the details and things, you kind of like, okay, well, I mean, it's hard, but at the same time, if you made a commitment, and that's why we say that love is not a feeling only, it's also the commitment. Beware of men that work in the morgue. She talking about, I know she put it in the love seat. There was people out here. Yes, they've been doing that. Yes, they're called necrophiliacs. The morgue. Yes, the morgue. I would have made him a sweet potato pie. I'm not finna play with you. Tanetta Lewis says, I don't have second days because I say no till I get married. Amen. And listen, there are gentlemen out here that are abstaining. And so don't feel as though just because you didn't get one this time that there is none out there. There are those. There are also gentlemen that have their reclaimed the virginity. But that's one of the things that we say is that you do not have to compromise yourself. You have to know before you go. And that's why we did Dateology. And that's another free download that we have over at Marriage Makes Three or at the link in the bio, bit.ly/MM3 links. Because some people, before they leave to go on the date, they have no idea where they want to go, what they're going to do. They have not made a decision that I'm going to abstain. And so when you get there and you have a drink, or you get there and he says, girl, you sure looking good tonight, and you feeling already a little hot and bothered because you are in a place of abstaining, then, depending on how strong this person comes on, you might fall to temptation. It is what it is. Let's see. There are more men abstaining than women right now. Really? Okay. Where do you get this information, Ms. Groovy One?
So a decision, a no decision or not making a decision is a decision to fail.
Yes.
Actually, it is a decision.
Yes, it is.
So this may, I don't know if you want to do anything or not.
Right.
It's kind of decision you have to kind of open. But when you're determined, so you have to make a concrete decision and put parameters into place to help keep you safe.
Exactly.
Now, one of the things we talk about in dating safely is that your friend, someone that you love and know, someone who's going to stand by you, is going to know where you're at, going to know who you're with. Right. And here's another one, and I think that we offer as Marriage Makes Three. If we're in a relationship with you, counseling, covenant relationship with you we're your friends.
Mhm.
If someone comes around us, we're going to ask some questions that you may not be able to ask, right? We're going to know, do you have any children? Maybe
Mhm.
you're not comfortable with asking
Mhm.
that. Have you been
Right.
married before?
Exactly.
Tell us about yourself.
Yourself. Yeah, because you might
And,
feel giddy. Because
mhm.
we get that dopamine rush and we
and,
get dumb.
and listen, I reached a determination this week that if I have people in my life and I ask you a question and you're uncomfortable with the question
Uh-huh.
and you avoid my question, then I'm going to ask you some more questions.
Yes. It
Just
is it.
call it, he's becoming an old dude. The old dude, I don't know, call it what you want, but I'm going to look out for those that I love. And this is one way that we
Amen.
help you
That's
to
right.
see the truth,
That's right.
right? You can
Amen.
avoid it. You can make up all kinds of reasons. Well, he's just a private. She's just a really private person.
No,
She
you
don't get
becoming
into all of that.
codependent.
No.
That's
Yep.
what you
Yeah.
finna do.
You are being pulled
Yep.
into that web.
Yep. That's right. You
You,
just said
in a few years, if you marry him, you're going to be telling, "Oh, boss man, he's sick today."
right. Yes,
She,
because it's going.
she's really.
Yep. It
Mhm.
becomes a really vicious cycle, y'all. And so this is why you're supposed to know these things before you ever say I do. Deirdre said, honey, fall on it, rub it, snuggle it. That part, yes. And so you got to be careful. I read it somewhere in an article about it, and it stated that there are more men waiting for a real relationship to have sex. And that's amazing. I
Yeah.
love that. If you can find that article, I would be
Yeah, I would love to
thankful
see it
that
too.
you would send that to me. So I know you all already put the sevens in the chat. Let me see an 8 while we go over number 7. So number 6 was that he has no long-term friends. That is one of those indicators that that person may have an issue with bonding. Okay. And number, it was in a marriage, it was a magazine at the doctor office. I should have snapped a few pictures and shared it. Yes. Do you know what magazine it was? We might be able to locate it. So here is number 7. If you're dealing with someone and you're dating, first couple, 2, 3 dates, maybe the first month, and you see that there is some emotional instability in them, okay? 1 minute they're up, another minute they're down, 1 minute they're mad, another minute they're happy. You have to be one that notices these things, okay? Because we listen, people, we deal with all sorts of stuff, okay? We have happiness and nothing wrong with emotions. God gave us emotions. It's what we do with the emotions that get us into trouble.
Absolutely.
And if I'm a person that I'm prone to getting angry or I'm prone to crying at the drop of a hat every single time, then there might be something there that needs to be regulated. It might be something there that needs to sit down into a class and understand where this is coming from and the root cause of it. Because listen, when you're around someone that is emotionally unstable and you're walking around on eggshells because you feel like you gonna break them or they gonna break you, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And some of us need to be
Instead of
healed.
sleeping at night, you can't sleep because you're watching.
Lord, see,
Watch and pray.
and y'all know we don't have enough eyes to watch a man.
No.
And gentlemen, you don't have enough eyes to watch a woman. If a person wants to do something, they are going to find a way to do it. If they want to cheat, they going to find a way. They might be calling themselves, I'm going to work or I'm going to school, but they will find themselves where they want to be. And so if you're going to be with someone, be with somebody that wants to also be with you. Amen. She said, been there, done that. Amen. We ain't finna do that. I'm not going to have my heart broken over and over and over with the same type of person. Because even though we've got folks out here, y'all love to rescue people, and rescuing,
Yes.
yes.
Until you get more than one. You know, some people rescue
Right.
all of them.
Yes.
You know?
We got folks
So-
out here rescuing tigers and stuff.
So that's one of those areas. Last
Mhm.
night we talked about people being extreme,
Yes.
and sometimes it's an indicator that there's some emotional instability.
It's like, and I don't know if you all have ever seen this. She said rescuing can get you hurt or kill, and it can. There are some shows on TV right now. There was a gentleman, I don't remember his name, but I think he was a part of one of the circus acts. The one that it was two guys, and they always had tigers and lions. Siegfried and Roy.
Is that who they were? Yeah.
I think that was at the music people.
That may have been the movie reviewers, but anyway, it was a couple from Vegas.
Yes, and they did the shows on the stages and stuff, and they always had the big cats. Well, see, here's the problem. Some of them, they get so enamored with the cat that they start bringing them home and start keeping them in cages. Now, these are wild animals. And I understand that you saw them when they were born. And, I fed them with a little bottle, but they were, 20 pounds then. Now that they're 200,000, what is it? 2,000 pounds. Roy died last week. Oh my goodness. Yeah. See, sometimes this is what we do. And here's another thing. One of my former pastors used to tell this story. He'd say that here we are, and Johnny's walking down the street. Johnny sees on the ground a snake, and the snake looks like it's been injured. And so Johnny gets the snake, nurses the snake, and tells the snake, you can come to my house and stay with me, and then I will get you back into health. And so he takes the snake home, and he's taking care of it, and he's bandaging it up, he's giving it medications and all of that. Now, at the end of that session, he should release the snake into the wild. But he decided to keep the snake. And the same snake that he was rescuing, quote unquote, bit him and ended up killing Johnny. See, some of us, we are taking snakes home thinking that, they're going to get better, they're going to change, everything's going to be all right. But a snake is a snake, and its nature
will always be a
one
snake.
Right. Okay. She said, I always wanted a tiger. What is you going to do?
A white tiger.
Lord, sooner or later, the animal is going to act like an animal. Yeah. Exactly. That sounds like making temporary people and making them permanent. Come through here now, Tanetta. Exactly correct. And so when we know that a person has a type of nature, unless they have a significant emotional event, unless they have possibly gone into a different career field, like going into a military where you are regimented and okay, this is what I'm going to do. Something has to change in a person.
Some long-term counseling.
Yes.
Help.
And they have to recognize it. It's just like
first.
Yeah. There's some people that they're like, well, why can't they stop smoking? Why can't they stop drinking? Because they love me. Well, honey, it has nothing to do with you. When a person is addicted in some way to any substance or to any person or situation, they are the ones that have to make the determination, because if they don't make it, if it's not their decision, if they're doing it for you as opposed to doing it for themselves, there's going to be a point where weakness comes, and motivation has to come from the inside. If it's not coming from within, then you can just forget about it. But understand that it has nothing really to do with you. Okay, that it's not that you're not good enough. It's not that the person doesn't love you. It's not that you're not worth doing whatever. It's simply the fact of the matter that every single person has to motivate from the inside to get anything done. Period. All right.
Absolutely. You drop the H in the chat.
In the chat. Come on with the H.
Now, what we know that if a person doesn't want help and you try to rescue them, guess what? You're both going under.
True.
They will destroy you. To keep from being rescued. Right? And now the intention, that may not be their intentions, but the road to hell is paved with good
Good
intentions.
intentions.
You know?
You can be
So
sincere
yeah.
and sincerely
Mhm.
wrong,
Mhm.
right? Amen. Listen, guys, don't forget to go on over to the link bit.ly/MM3LINKS. There you'll find all the amazing products that we have available for you. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. And if you need an encounter session, that's 15 minutes with Pastor G and myself, this is what we do. We've been doing this type of thing for over 50 years between the two of us, spiritual relationship and pastoral counseling. Some of you just need someone to mentor you, to get you to your next level.
Yeah.
We want you to know that we are also available to you for that individually. So find us over at marriagemakesthenumber3.com. Thank you all that have put those number 8s in the chat. Appreciate you guys so very much. Number 8 is this. If your date is that type of person that avoids anything that has to do with their past. And listen,
That's off limits.
Listen to us now. I know we talk about ghosts of relationships past. We're saying that because you don't want a person that dwells in everything back there. My old base, my old friend, my old job, my old whatever. Because that gets old. I'm sick of them and you, right? But what
my former wife, my former mate.
Right. No, we're not here for that. But if a person never speaks about anything concerning their childhood, concerning if they're in a new state and they never say anything about where they came from or any of that, you gotta kind of look and think, wait a minute, what's really
running from that past?
What's really going on here? Timmy says sooner or later the animal is going to show his nature. There was a man who had an aficionado, maybe an anaconda, maybe. He took it to the vet and said he won't eat. He's laying in his bed. He's not moving. I think he's sick. The vet checked him. He said he's not eating because he was going to eat you. He was getting it. Amen.
Beautiful fluff is
all right, thanks for joining us tonight. All right, and guys, if you're in here, you haven't shared this, you know someone that will benefit from being a part of this, because you know we out here doing too much and not enough. She is an African anaconda. She put it all together, an aficionado. Okay. Or it was autocorrupt. Because you know autocorrupt will do it to you, right? You put in one thing, autocorrupt will change everything you say, and you be like, wait a minute. All right. So here is we talking about number 8. If a person does not talk about anything as far as growing up, their parents, where they came from, maybe the school that they went to, there might be some emotional trauma that they have that they are not dealing with, A, or B, like you were saying, they might be a fugitive from justice.
On the witness protection program, you know, so either one can be detrimental to your relationship and your life.
Exactly.
Just know that. Number 9.
Let me see the 9s in the chat, you guys. Number 9.
I didn't mean to rush you.
No, you're fine, honey. We're trying to get out of here. But it's true though. You do have some folks out here that you got to wonder: are you a fugitive from justice? Should I be looking for your picture on one of those boards or something? Because you really kind of like, well, why you always act so secretive? Why you always act like
you're hunted by a one-armed man?
Right? She said, call the FBI. Amen. You got to check it. All right. This is another one of those stops in the name of love. Number 9 is this: if they have just ended a relationship, okay, and especially if it was a long-term relationship.
Wow.
Y'all, too many times what happens is people aren't healed yet from the relationship that they just came out of, and they're trying to fill a void. And what you don't want to become is a rebound relationship. Don't anybody got time for that.
Because in essence, that's what you're doing. What will often happen is that you will begin to pick up for the person. You'll begin to clean him up, to make him look better, get his skin cleared up, get his beard trimmed, get him some newer fashions. Because listen, when you're in some relationships, you let yourself go. When you're out of it, you kind of let yourself go. But you kind of let yourself go because you were in this relationship, and now I don't know what to do. Now that I'm not with somebody.
Right.
Listen to me. And then, so now you've got them all cleaned up, and they start to look nice. The skin is clearing up. They're getting a little money in their account.
They done helped you fill out all the applications and all of that, you know.
And all of a sudden, so are you hearing this?
Amen.
They've ended a long relationship, and we always tell you, we always remind you that 78% of second marriages end in divorce. And that's higher than first marriage.
That's right.
Why is that? Because people are rebounding.
Yeah.
They've gotten out of a relationship and they get into another one too quickly.
Too quickly. Haven't healed, haven't figured out what the issues were, haven't gotten any new tools to help them to get over these same things. Because what ends up happening is that we begin to attract the very thing that we're saying that we don't want.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you start to, I may not be as direct with you because I know that you were wounded over here. I knew that you were wounded over here. So now that you're over here in holiness, I'm going to protect your feelings.
Yes.
I'm not going to say anything that's going to hurt you, even though you might stink. Come on. So you think that everything is all right.
Yes. But it's really not all right.
No. It's still not whole.
Because there's still that healing element that has not taken place. And that's why we have to be whole and complete.
Yeah, and here's an example. You have to grieve.
Yeah.
If you don't grieve when something happens, what's going to happen? It's going to snap at the wrong time. Yeah, you're holding it in. I'm ready to go back to work. I'm ready to get into it.
I'm good.
Somebody's going to say something at work. It's just going to be one of those times that they say something, they do something, and you're going to have a nervous breakdown in front of everyone. It's going to be a real blow up because you have put off your healing. The grief, even in relationships, getting over a relationship, part of it is the grieving.
That's right.
That's right. You can be whole from it. If you jump right into something else and you haven't grieved, you haven't reckoned with it, you haven't said what was owned up to your part of it. Come on.
And that's one of the things that we've told you guys that you need to ask yourself. What would the other person say was the issue? Why the two of you are no longer a couple? Because it is valid. And we understand that some people are just overly critical. We talked about that person last night. But you have to know that in every bit of constructive criticism, that there is an element of truth. And you have to pull, what we talking about, eat the meat and spit out the bones. You have to learn to do that because it's going to help you in the long run. Tanetta Lewis says, that's a hands off for me. I had a bad experience in that area. I got you. Listen, we're going to, this is going to cut off here in about a minute. So we want you to know that we will be back as soon as we can. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. We're here Tuesday through Thursday between 9 and 9:30-ish Central Standard Time. Let me see those number 10 in the chat, you guys.
And while we're waiting on the reset, Shirley Baker is joining us. Hey, love you, Shirley.
Love you. Thanks for coming.
All our love.
Yes, Lord. We'll be right back, you guys.
Tell them we said, what's up? That's what the young people say. Tell them we send our love sincerely. Appreciate you all being in here. Kimmy had I see some comments from Miss Groovy.
What'd she say?
Let me see, Miss Groovy. The brother was a serial killer. I saw a show that the younger brother thought it was fun. His brother tying him up and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
The brother was a serial killer out in the streets. Okay.
Lord have mercy.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? But it is what it is. And you have to know that these are some of the deals that we have to deal with and work through. And if we would do the work, y'all, I'm telling you, Mr. Dushin Spot is over here cutting up as usual. I love that. I love that lady. Hey, Miss Shirley, thank you for joining.
Homer Simpson.
It sure looks like it.
Sorry,
It
guys.
sure looks like his little belly right there. All right. So here's number. Wait, did y'all give us the tens? Okay, I
Did we
see.
ask for 10?
We
What
did.
we
I
do?
thought we did. Okay, there's a 10. There's a 10. There's another
Mhm.
10. Thank you guys for the tens in the chat, y'all. If you haven't shared, you know, we're almost at the end here. I know y'all like to keep us to yourself. I get it. I understand. We love y'all too.
Marie, thank you for coming back in.
But there's some folks that need to know that we're out here and that we do this because we want your relationship to be on and popping. Okay.
And we love you and value.
We do. Right. All right. So here is number 10 when we're talking about the things that we have to start looking out for in relationship. Number 10, your date, you go out with them and they are uncomfortable talking about marriage counseling.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Huh? I don't want. Why would I need to do that? Because you're jacked up and because you ain't been doing right. And in order for us to know that the statistic says, let me go and put it like this: the statistic says that 30% of people last past that 5-year point in the marriage when there is some premarital counseling. Someone that I love very dearly is at this point in the game not getting married, even though the all the stuff has been taken care of, the hall had been paid for, the catering and all of that, because in excuse me, in premarital counseling, they found out that, man, this might not be the one. I know they cute. I know he's handsome as all get out. He's got the biceps, the triceps, the leg, the tush is on point, all of that. However, this thing right here, I don't think this is something that I can go with. This is what we call in counseling a non-negotiable. I can't deal with this. This right here is going to break me eventually, and I don't want to be broken. And if you can't even commit to speaking out of your mouth that you will not do this or engage in this after we are married, then we already have a problem, Houston. We're already in trouble. And so it makes no sense for you to go down the aisle not knowing for sure if this is going to work. And if you're already dealing with a second marriage, you're already divorced. And listen, there's no condemnation here. We understand. She said he got 11 kids. Some people have found out in counseling that the person has children that they didn't know about. And it's always the best time before you walk down the aisle, like Sister Shirley says. It really is.
Regardless of the cost.
Yes.
Bought lessons are hard lessons. They're expensive, but they're better than going into something.
Yes.
The aftermath.
And I like it like this. You don't have to experience everything in order to gain wisdom.
Come on.
I've always thought that way. If I can learn something from what you dealt with, and I can see, recognize, and discern that coming around me or in my circle, then why do I need to go through it? And listen, guys, we're not saying this because we've been married forever to each other. If he looking and flirting with him, Houston, we already have. Yes, amen. We are not exempt from the divorce pool. Right? And we need you guys to understand that even if you've had to go through it and deal with that, that is not a sentence that is going to preclude you from being married and being happy. It's not going to preclude you from ministry. It's not going to preclude you from being a first-class citizen. And I know that a lot of the church has told you all that somehow, because you are dealing with divorce or have been divorced, that divorce is you. But it's not you. You went through that. And know that if God knew you before you were in your mama and them womb, then he already knew that you were going to have to deal with some issues when it comes to relationship. And we serve a loving God. He's a God that says to us, come to me when you are labored and heavy laden, and I'll give you some rest. Some of us, we have gone through the gamut when it comes to relationship. We've gone through the gamut when it comes to being heartbroken, and we're trying to heal. And so we want for you all to be able to heal, regardless of if it's a new relationship, something that you've already been through. We want you to know that we are here Tuesday through Thursday. And we do this part here for free. Now, if those of you that are in here that are dating or you are thinking about dating and you're not sure if you're ready, there's some things that we have. We've got some questionnaires. We've got a product called Relationship Readiness. Is it really time for me to jump out of the boat and run into this? We did Dating 101, Dishing the Basics of Dating. It comes with this 35, actually it's more than that now because we've updated the workbook.
That's true.
This is just the workbook from Dating 101, Dishing the Basics. And this was a 5-hour intensive. We've added on here, we've added the portion on stalking. We've also added a portion on catfishing. Do y'all remember when the dude was trying to catfish me? Me, while I'm on broadcast. Like, what? Are you out of your mind? And so sometimes we have been out here, and though we're adults, there's some things that we have not quite figured out yet. And if we would do our due diligence and do the work, then before we go, number one, Dateology. We've got that. That's free. We've got the download, and then we've got the 4 hours of teaching free. Comes in your email that so you have no reason. You have no excuse for going out, hanging out with someone and getting your heart broken all over again. There's no reason for it. I've always said after a breakup, I think you should take at least a year before dating again. And it looks different, Miss Groovy One, to different people, okay? Someone that is mature, and maybe the person that actually did the breaking up. And I want you guys to know this as well. That there are some people that, not some people, most people, if they're going through a divorce, there are some places in them that need to be healed. They have to go through their little grieving process. But normally, before those papers are signed, usually 2 years before the papers are ever signed, the divorce has already been in the works. There's been a disconnect emotionally, spiritually, and maybe even physically. You'll find that sexual relation between the couple becomes less and less. It becomes hit or miss. It becomes more of a fulfillment of a need. Like, I got an itch, will somebody scratch it, as opposed to an intimate place in the relationship. And so some people, though they have to still go through the grieving process and still spend some time making sure that they're okay and healing internally, it may not take them an entire year. And so it all really depends on the person. It really does. Sister Shirley said, my brother told mama he was going to live off of love. She told him, you're going to starve to death and die. And that's all you got. I know that's right. She really does. It's amazing. Sister Stephanie says, maybe I need to start catfishing men for payback. You're so silly. I love it. Amen. Tanetta, that's such a cute name. Tanetta Lewis says, you are right. Amen. And so it just really depends on the people involved, the person, their maturity level, and if you're younger, it's going to take you a little bit longer, baby girl, baby boy, because we hang our hopes and dreams on relationships sometimes. And when those things don't work out, even when it's for our good, I need you to know that God, sometimes he pulls people out of your life so that you don't have to being the cleanup woman or the cleanup man after everything is all over with. All right. So again, I'm Pastor Michelle. This is my sweet husband, Pastor G. We're spiritual relationship counselors. We're veterans of the United States Air Force, your go-to couple for all things relationship. We talked tonight about some of the things that you need to look at. We said, stop in the name of love. Before you break my heart, think it over.
So our last point that we talked about was your date is uncomfortable with talking about the past, or the marriage counseling, the idea of marriage counseling. there's so many great benefits that would come from counseling.
True.
And the worst offenders, I'm afraid, is us guys. Is that we feel like some other
Yes.
man or some other
In my
woman are going to get
business.
up in our business. And so we misunderstand what counseling is all about. The
True.
Bible says that in the multitude of counseling,
There's
there's
wisdom.
great wisdom.
Yes.
There
Amen.
is great wisdom. So we believe that wisdom helps us, keeps us from making the same mistakes
Oh,
all over
oh
again.
yes.
We
Amen.
become more aware of our stuff and how it affects other people. And anytime we become self-aware,
Mhm.
more self-aware,
Mhm.
we become better husbands, we become better fathers, we
Amen.
become better people.
That's right.
And
Amen.
that's what we want for you.
Yeah.
And we're glad that we had this time to talk with you this week, to spend this time with you. We appreciate you joining us. If this is your first time, we certainly would love for you to follow us. We're on IG. We're over here on Periscope TV. We're on
YouTube. Hey,
YouTube,
y'all.
Facebook Live. Hey there.
Love
And
y'all.
we're so glad to have you all with us. Share the broadcast. If you believe it'll be a help to somebody that you know and love, well,
Yes.
somebody you hate might benefit from, share it with them.
Right?
We love you all, and
We
thank you
do.
so much for joining us.
You
Please
need
come and see us
an
again.
encounter session. It's absolutely free over at marriagemakes3.com. There we will sit down with you just like we are here. We'll deal with one of the issues that you have, give you a strategy and possibly a tool that's going to help you to get over the hump. Appreciate you guys so very much. Sister Shirley says that many people think counseling means you crazy rather than seeing a doctor for someone sick. That's the truth.
And here's the deal. We've actually had people to say that.
Yeah.
Guys, well, you see the counselor. Ain't nothing
Yeah.
wrong with me.
Right.
You know,
This is true.
and it's so sad that when we
It
put it in
is.
that context. But if
But
you are in trouble, if you're hurting,
yes,
you're gonna go see somebody
that's right.
for that itch. or
And what
whatever
I
it is.
love about what we do is that sometimes there is where a husband or a wife doesn't want to come to a session. And so we're still able to deal with the individual and get you where you need to
Yes,
be.
yes.
Sometimes we're giving one of the spouses the strategies and how to deal with what they've got going on at home, how to try to bring it back together. The one thing you don't want is to, after everything is over, after you've signed the papers and split up the children, that there's something else that I could have done. If you go and you finally end up doing the divorce, you need to be strong. You need to know that you can hold your head up and say, I did everything that I could possibly do in order to keep this thing together. But we have to have both people that's going to work at it. We've gotten a lot of good feedback, even from those that we counsel individually, because even though the other person doesn't know, they are being affected by what that person is learning. They are having to put some things and parameters in place, and the other person is just seeing changes and wondering what's going on.
Mhm.
And so, just the same, whether you want to do it and get right for yourself or for the partner, and if they don't want to get right, well, at least you know you getting yourself together. And then if you do go into another relationship down the line, that you have done the work, because you can't work on somebody else without working on yourself. All right. We appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you for being a part of our broadcast. Again, I'm Pastor Michelle, Pastor G. MarriageMakes3.com. You can find us at the link in the bio. Go find some of those free downloads that we have available before and after I do, and everywhere in between. Guys, we appreciate you so very much. And what we always say here,
shout out to True Movement. Thank you for your
thank
support,
you, darling.
Shirley.
Deirdre,
thank you,
Kimmy.
Deirdre, Kimmy.
Yes.
Love you all. We always remind you that God loves you and that we love you, and ain't a thing you can do about it.
Up in here. All right. We'll see you guys on Sunday if we don't see you on Friday evening.
Thank you,
Blink, blink.
audience. Love you guys.
Because y'all know somebody going to inbox us and say, hey, What didn't y'all say? All right, we'll see you guys. We love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Bye now.
So new thing going on over here on Instagram. I'll have to figure that out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye now.